crafters, it's Cynthia again. I am back with another card video, and today I wanted to pull out another one of my favorite things, red rubber cling background stamps, because I can't honestly tell you that I ever used this one before. I was looking in my box of stamps and I'm like, I don't believe I've ever used it. So it's too beautiful to just sit around, so I'm definitely going to use it. And this one is called the Etched, what does that say? I need my glasses. Yes, Etched Flower background. So sorry about that. But anyway, it's beautiful, and you can do, of course, many things. It's just begging to be watercolored. I can't stand it. But I actually wanted to use this particular Rainbow Sparkle embossing powder. This came in a Simon Says stamp card kit, and I don't know if this is a Simon Says stamp product, meaning their brand of embossing powder. It very well could be. All I know is that it's Rainbow Sparkle, and it is really pretty, because not only, I mean, you might look at it and think it's white with some multicolored little sprinkles in there, but it's actually clear, and you get a really gorgeous effect. So anyway, I wanted to use this in particular, so that's what I'm going to use this stamp for today. So I have a piece of the My Favorite Things Razzleberry cardstock, and this is one of my favorite hot pink cardstocks to use. And I've said before that MFT's cardstocks are very thick and beautiful quality, beautiful colors, and I really love them. So I have a bunch of their colors. Anyway, so Razzleberry today. I'm also going to use some of the My Favorite Things Gold Shine cardstock. And as you can see, this is a highly reflective gold cardstock, which is gorgeous as well, and also very thick. I'm just going to use a little bit of that as a trim. And this piece, I don't even know what the size is because it's cut quite large, and I wanted it to be oversized so that I could trim it down. I'm going to go ahead, prep my surface with my anti-static bag just to get away any dirt, oils, or static potentially on that cardstock. And then, like I always do with my background stamps, I'm just gonna, it does have a cling foam back for sticking to acrylic blocks. You can even use one of the cutting pads from your Big Shot or your Cuttlebug or whatever you have, but I just lay it on my work surface. And I'm going to use my Versamark ink pad and just get this inked up very nicely. And again, because my piece of cardstock is oversized, I don't need to worry about perfection on the edges. So I'm mostly focusing that ink here in the middle of the stamp. And then again, you can always tip your stamp into the light and make sure that that ink is shining, and then you can see exactly where the ink is. So I'm going to lay my piece down and then just use my fingers. Alright, that is good. Pull it off. Now you can actually see, I can certainly see quite clearly all of that stamping, which is lovely. You could just let this dry and you'd have a beautiful tone-on-tone piece. So when you're playing around at home, sometimes you might want to just quit while you're ahead. So actually, that one's a little small. This is a bigger scrap piece here. So I am gonna start sprinkling. And whenever you use a glitter embossing powder like this one is, I like to, before I take the lid off the jar, I like to really give it a good shake, and just, that makes me feel like I'm really distributing all of the sparkle amongst the clear embossing powder. getting a good mix. Because those glittery bits do want to separate themselves from the plastic bits. So, oh, I poured it all over my work surface. Oh well. Okay, so that was messy, but it worked. And I also don't want to tap off too much, because again, I'm gonna disturb my work if I do that. And then you could lose more glitter. So we don't want that. And this is really fine though. So because of how fine this particular embossing powder is, you don't get as much separation. But I really want you to try to see if you can. Do you see how right there, there's like a whole bunch of glitter and then the powder. So you can see that separation. And then when I cap it, mix it up again, and uncap it, now it's completely dispersed. So just a tiny notation when you're working with that. All right, there's my piece back again. I've got my heat tool here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on some music, let this tool preheat, and then do the melting. So there it is. Isn't that just lovely? And what happens is that when that clear that's in here, when the clear melts, it makes whatever the color underneath, like this hot pink, it just intensifies it and turns it into almost a ruby red. It's just beautiful. And then of course all that multicolored sparkle throughout. So this is just fabulous. I really hope that you're being able to see how lovely this is. So anyway, very happy with that. Okay, I had to jump in with some voiceover because I kept rambling, but I'm using a top folding card base, which is my usual A2 size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I am going to lay down that gold shine strip first. And of course it's too long, but I'm just going to trim off the excess. So I'll get that laid in there nice and straight, clip off the end, and just make sure that it's all perfect. And then the pink panel is going to need some trimming as well. So I have my little paper guillotine here, and I'm just going to nip off the edges, and it'll be 4 inches wide for that sparkle panel. And I just neatened up one edge and I'm leaving the other edge long again. And I made a mark where it needed to be cut. Get that trimmed off, and luckily it was perfect. So now I'm going to use my big ATG gun and really cover it with plenty of tape. And then I'm just going to lay that on there the best I can. So there you go. And you just have that little bit of gold peeking out, which I think is a pretty accent. So I'm going to use this stamp set, which is called Beautiful Girl by My Favorite Things. And then this one is Smitten with You. And I went ahead and built that sentiment. And they're both going to sit on this panel. So the panel is 3 by 5, and it'll get cut down even more. So there's the Smitten with You. I just did it in my Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I will use the same black ink to stamp the little girl. Get her nice and inky. It's the first time I'm using her, so I rubbed it on the palm of my hand first, and now I'm inking her very carefully. So I'm going to do a special cutting technique. I have the matching die that goes with the girl, and what I'm going to do is just a partial die cut, and you'll see what that entails in just a moment. So here I'm going to try to keep everything nice and straight and even, and I just want to draw a very faint pencil line so that I'll know about where I want to stop cutting. So just very faint, and I won't go all the way to the edge of the stamp image. I'll stop a little bit short. And I am doing 2 cards. I like to do that, especially when something's a little more involved, because I have everything out already. So you'll have to try to excuse this doubling. I didn't realize I left this in the video. But again, just trying to get everything nice and straight so that I can put my pencil line down. And again, just very faintly. And this is more of a guide than anything else. It'll just kind of help me. It won't end up being perfect, but that's fine. So here is the die, and of course it's open, which is very helpful. So I can see right through it and see exactly where it's going to cut. So I'm just going to get that lined up best I can. And then I'm just using a couple real small pieces of painter's tape just to hold down the die to the paper so it doesn't shift. Because believe me, if it shifted, that would ruin the whole effect. And then I will get another piece. All right, and now I'm going to get my Big Shot out, and you'll see that I offset the plates so that it's not going to cut the entire die cut. It's going to stop at the edge of the plate and only cut what is between the 2 plates. And then I have to allow for the fact that there is a little beveled edge. So I did the best I could. That's why it wasn't exactly on the pencil line, but that's okay because it was darn close. But anyway, whatever is not sandwiched between both clear cutting plates will not cut. So I'm going to run it through, and you will see when it's done that only part of it cut. All right. So now that you can see that she's only partially cut out. So that's a really neat little trick. I know it looked awkward as heck when I was doing it, but I promise you it's not that hard. Okay, so now in order to get a nice neat little edge, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife. I'm going to carefully erase those pencil marks. And I'm going to look and see. You can see the edge of the cut right there. So I'm going to line this up with my grid mat just so that I get a nice sense of what's even. And then take this right to the edge. There, see? And then you get that cute little partial die cut and then the base. So I think that looks really cute. And I think just to make it a little more attractive, hopefully. I'm going to go ahead and round my little corners here. So here's the base, here's where the little girl is going to sit, and then that way you get a nice, you get to see more of that beautiful background instead of covering it up. So now I'm going to do my Copic coloring. So let me gather those colors and I will be back. Alright, so here she is with all of her coloring done, and I think she is super, super sweet. So I am going to just put a bunch of foam squares on the back of her so that I can pop her up from the background. And there she is. Look at how cute that turned out. And all the little sparkle and shine from the background and her little wings. So I think that turned out so, so precious. So I hope you had fun today with this card. I really certainly did. I know it was a little bit time consuming, but I think that the end result is absolutely worth it. So thank you, and I hope that you click like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe to my channel, and that way you'll be notified every time I come out with a new video, and you'll never miss them. So thanks so much, take care, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.